What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you the first upload to the new TTM TCG channel. So first things first, welcome, and second of all, Happy New Year. I hope you guys did something amazing on New Year's Eve, and if you did not and you were just a couch potato like I was, well, you know what, that is incredibly underrated. So yeah, I'm trying to start this year off with a relative bang with a Landorus and Buzzwole very cool expanded deck that I got from 6 prizes, so I'll leave that in the link in the description. And yeah, before I get into anything, just a reminder that if you guys liked this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button. It helps us out a ton, really lets us grow this new TCG side of TTM that will be specific for the TCG. So any help that you guys can give us will be greatly appreciated. And before I get into anything, the question of the day, of course, because it's New Year's Day, you already know what's coming. What is your guys' New Year's resolution? Now, that doesn't have to be Pokemon related, it doesn't have to be real life related, or it can be both, either or, really just whatever your resolutions are going into this new year. I would really like to hear what you guys are wanting to change, wanting to keep going, wanting to improve. If you had to ask me, honestly, I would say that things seem to be going pretty well for me. I mean, but apart from the whole stay fit, go to the gym, blah blah blah, all the generic New Year's resolutions, I think mine would probably be just to be more involved, if that makes sense. Just kind of like just keep growing up, keep improving myself. Just be more of a positive person, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Anybody that knows me, particularly in the draft format, and also anybody that has seen me with Crushing Hammer in the TCG, know that I am a very competitive, ultra competitive, and a very salty person as a result of that. So my New Year's resolution is to work towards being more like, Cybertron in terms of how he views hacks. Like, he says that's unfortunate, which I mean it always is, but in terms of getting unlucky, he always looks at it as, okay, what could I have done differently to avoid that luck having that impact or giving my opponent the ability to beat me with said luck. So yeah, that's something that I'm going to try to work on moving forward. Just be less salty, more positive, more introspective in terms of that. Just let it tilt me less, affect me less, etc, etc. So yeah, that is my New Year's resolution. Let me know what your guys' is in the comments down below. Love to hear what New Year's resolutions you guys are putting forward. But anyway, onto the deck. I'm sorry if you guys can hear a baby crying in the background. My brother and his first child, so I'm finally an uncle, are here for Christmas and New Year's. So, I mean, that baby is cute as all get out. I mean, that is just one adorable kid, and I'm super excited to be an uncle. So, but again, that does come with a baby crying in the background potentially, so I do apologize if you guys can hear that. But anyway, onto the deck. Like I said, it is going to be centered around the combination of Buzzwole and Landorus, mainly Buzzwole with the Jet Punch, but also Landorus with Hammerhead, just really sniping down our opponent's bench Pokemon, setting things up for KOs, boosting the damage with things like not Beast Ring, that is the one thing that doesn't boost the damage. Well, I guess it technically does by powering things up, letting them attack for more power, but like Choice Band, Muscle Band, Strong Energy, and Beast Energy being able to boost the sniping attacks of Buzzwole and Landorus, in addition to Diancie, then having backup attackers in Baby Buzzwole, Sudowoodo to disrupt our opponent, etc, etc. I know I've said that like 30 times, but really just this whole deck is very straightforward in terms of what it does, but also when you actually get into playing with it, it is very it's a very skill intensive deck in terms of you can't just spread around your damage however you want. Like, you can't just be like, I'll just throw the 30 damage here and hope that it comes into play later. You have to be very deliberate with how you spread around your damage, as even just putting one Hammerhead or Jet Punch bench snipe in the wrong spot could put you in a very horrible position late game to where you can potentially lose this game. So, like I said, the deck is very straightforward in what it does, but like I also said, it is incredibly skill intensive in how you have to play with it. So you might look at it and be like, oh, what, it just boosts a bunch of damage, but you have to plan things out way in advance. Like, you have to set up your KOs, you have to figure out what wins you the game, what you have to do to win the game so that you can get the most, like, you can get the most out of every single turn, every single attack, and all of that. So yeah, let's just go through the mons that we have, or the cards that we have, and why we have them and the numbers we have. 2 Baby Buzzwole for Sledgehammer for 1 energy does 30, and then if your opponent has exactly 4 prizes remaining, does 90 more. Well, coincidentally, 4 prizes remaining is exactly what they will have if they knock out a Landorus or a Buzzwole-GX, which is normally what you are going to be leading off with and attacking with early on in the game. So this is a nice way to potentially clean up for a single energy, get some KOs, heavy damage, and then also it can do swing around, which you don't necessarily want to do, but against things like Hoopa, Ninetales, you need the ability to hit those, as otherwise we would be attacking with Oricorio against those guys, and yeah, that wouldn't be overly beneficial. So Baby Buzzwole is nice for that, but also being a 1 prize attacker to make your opponent play an odd prize game. Should you choose to do that, or should they not be able to, like, bring up Diancie or Sudowoodo in that sense in order to take that last prize? But basically, it's bulky with 130, and it hits hard. That's why we have it. 2 of the regular Buzzwole, because really this is what the deck is centered around. Buzzwole and Landorus bench sniping and setting up KOs. We have 2 Buzzwole with Jet Punch, same exact thing as Hammerhead, 30 and 30 to a bench, and then Knuckle Impact, 160 for 3 fighting, and then Absorption GX. This is our GX attack to be able to take 1 big knockout. Really just very straightforward. You guys know what Buzzwole does. Similar idea with Landorus with Hammerhead, doing 1 for 30. We have Landorus as opposed to Buzzwole. Like, we have a couple Landorus as opposed to even more Buzzwole-GX because of weakness. Just being able to have a mon that is not weak to Psychic, to where Psychic is not an auto-loss matchup. You have a couple Landorus that can help you with that. And then also we have 1 Zygarde as another big basic attacker, with Land's Pulse, Cellstorm, and Land's Wrath, just being able to be weak to being weak to grass typing as opposed to water or psychic. Just give us more attackers. That way, in certain matchups, we have a plethora of attackers, and we're not just like, well, I had to worry about this 1 tech card that I run for this specific matchup. No, you have enough big basic attackers that you can always be like, okay, well, I just can't use Landorus in this matchup, or I can't use Buzzwole in this matchup. You have plenty that you can work with. We have a copy of Diancie Prism Star for the damage boost, because that is invaluable in this deck. 1 copy of Sudowoodo for Roadblock, to really shut down like Zoroark decks and other decks that rely on having a full bench. Sudowoodo is super nice for that, and especially with Lele and Shaman being played. Shaman I haven't seen as much, and pretty sure it's fallen out of favor quite a bit. But Sudowoodo, actually I could be wrong about Shaman, I haven't seen it as much when I've been playing, but then again, that is exclusively on TCGO. I'm not sure about the actual expanded format and actual expanded tournaments, how much Shaman is seen, but either way, Sudowoodo, if your opponent plays down a card that, like, gets an ability when you play it onto the bench, well, Sudowoodo punishes your opponent even harder for that. We have a single copy of Devour Light Giratina, more specifically for the Greninja Break matchup, because that can actually really hurt us, as Greninja Break is super bulky and can hit for weakness against Lando, but you wouldn't play Lando. But still, just like Greninja Break is super bulky, it's generally, like, it's a huge nuisance for this deck to deal with. However, with Giratina, you can just shut that down very hard. So that's why Giratina is there. It turns what is normally a hard losing matchup into a pretty significantly winning one. Like, as soon as you play down the Giratina, the match swings in your favor really hard. And then Oricorio is here instead, well, for the Night March matchup, instead of Karen. A lot of people really like Karen, but I tried it out, and I just like Oricorio a little bit better, because in those situations, I either want to Korrina, I want to end my opponent down, like, because if I can end my opponent and Oricorio where they have only a few prizes left, well, then that puts me in an amazing situation So it's just kind of personal preference. If you prefer Karen, then I would definitely try it out, but I really like Oricorio for the Night March matchup, and wow, I've been talking for a while, let's speed it up through the items. 2 Beast Ring to boost Buzzwoles, just get both of them powered up quickly so you have big attacks when you need it. 1 Computer Search as the ace spec of choice, just to help this deck set up as quickly and efficiently as possible. 1 Nest Ball for search, as everything in this deck is a basic, so why wouldn't you run Nest Ball? And you don't need anything like to play down onto the bench with, well, with like Lele to where you need to play it on the bench to get its ability, so Nest Ball is just perfect. Professor's Letter to search out energy so that you can attack. 1 Rescue Stretcher for recursion. 4 Via Seeker to reuse all of our supporters. 3 Brooklet Hill as the stadium of choice so that we can just search out our fighting Pokemon, get them set up early on, and just get everything we need. Like, we can search out a Sudowoodo or a Diancie, we can search out another attacker. Just Brooklet Hill and Nest Ball are our only methods of search besides Korrina, but I mean, you're going to be using Korrina quite a bit in this deck, so really, you don't need anything apart from the 1 Nest Ball, and even the 1 Nest Ball seems a little bit redundant at times, but I mean, I still like it, so I decided to keep it in there. But Brooklet Hill and Korrina are plenty sufficient. We have 4 Cynthia, 2 N, and 2 Juniper for draw support, just fairly straightforward, like, just you like the shuffle draw in this deck. However, N and Juniper can be great in their own situations. 2-1 of Guzma and Lysandre, because you don't always want to have to switch out with Guzma, so Lysandre is there for that option. 4 Korrina, absolute max number to not only help us get set up, but also boost our damage with things like Choice Band, Muscle Band, grab a Computer Search, grab a Beast Ring, whatever. And then as for the tools, 2 Choice Band for damage boosting, 3 Float Stone because our stuff is kind of fat, and things like Diancie, Sudowoodo, and Giratina, you definitely don't want to have to pay their retreat cost, so being able to just slap a Float Stone onto them and have free retreat is always nice. 1 Muscle Band just to have the guaranteed damage increase as opposed to the situational of Choice Band, and then Wide Lens. I was kind of skeptical when I saw this in the original list, but I decided to try it out, and oh man, do I love it. Like, we already have a good matchup against Zoroark with this deck, but the Wide Lens turns this almost into an auto win. Like, if you're able to get the Wide Lens out, it almost just becomes an auto win, because in the right situation, you're able to knock out 2 Zorua in a single turn. 2 fresh Zorua just get knocked out in one hit with a Wide Lens on Landorus and Buzzwole. Now, I'm not saying that you're guaranteed to win, because there's always something that can happen, but I'm just saying it takes the matchup and turns it virtually into an auto win if you're able to get the Wide Lens up against a Zoroark player and they don't have a bunch of, well, and basically they just don't have like a counter deck to whatever you have left. Just, yeah, Zoroark is very popular, so Wide Lens is just like, yeah, your Zoruas are not going to evolve. 4 Strong Energy, 1 Beast Energy, we want max number of these for most damage output, and then 8 regular fighting, because we want to have them in the deck when we have the ability to Beast Ring, as that really puts us in an amazing spot. So yeah, that is the deck, and let's just go ahead and see this deck in action. Alrighty, we have found one against Hugh 5233213. Yeah, I'm just gonna guess that. I don't know, maybe that's his phone number. But either way, we do win the coin flip, so I am electing to go first, as this does not appear to be a Night March matchup. If it is probably the worst Night March deck I've ever seen, because there is no Joltik, and without Joltik, well, suddenly Night March is, well, surprisingly not very good. But we are up against a Greninja Break deck, which is actually fantastic news for us, as Giratina will pretty much just shut that down immediately. However, I do want to be careful with how I play my Giratina, because that is something that I don't want my opponent to be able to target down immediately. And so I'm also not going to play my Landorus, just because that thing is going to be very important, and Giratina is in the deck. That is good to know. I don't have to go digging for it in my prizes. So yeah, I'm just going to Korrina, grab Diancie, play the Muscle Band, play an energy onto my Buzzwole, and then I think I'm just going to end the turn right there. I'm not going to bother with the Brooklet Hill just yet, because I have no need to. I mean, I'm planning to Brooklet Hill for Sudowoodo next turn, but for the time being, considering Wally is banned, my opponent has no way of water duplicating immediately And if he's able to get up a full bench, well, that's great for me. Okay, if he bubbles and sorry, I was trying to think of what I was trying to say. But if he bubbles and hit tails, then he just loses. However, unfortunately for us, he does hit heads. So, how do I want to do this? I think, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to go ahead and Brooklet Hill. And let's grab another Buzzwole. Or do I want to grab the Sudowoodo? Okay, so there's 2 more Brooklet Hills in the deck. There's plenty of energy. I think for the time being, I will just grab Sudowoodo with Brooklet Hill. And then I might just, quite frankly, I might just Korrina to get a Buzzwole, another Buzzwole. Or what I can do is Baby Buzzwole, attach the energy, and then, yeah, let's Baby Buzzwole attach the energy to my active Buzzwole as it's really not in any danger, and then just N. Gets rid of my opponent's hand, gets me a fresh one, and I have another Brooklet Hill. So, yeah, so it's unfortunate that I was not able to knock out the Froakie and win the game on that turn. I was trying to say that, then suddenly my mouth was just like, brain, words, no. It just did not connect right there, and what came out was kind of a blah, 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 blah. But, okay, he gets rid of my Muscle Band, which prevents me from being able to knock out the Froakie. Which is unfortunate, but all I need is a strong energy. And what I can do is Korrina for a Computer Search, which would get me the strong energy, so that I'm able to knock out his active Frogadier, while also sniping the bench, which I think would be, you know, a little bit beneficial. But like I said, the reason I'm waiting to play my Giratina is my opponent's deck is slow. So he has ample time to, well, I mean, not necessarily. So his deck is slow, meaning it's going to take him time to get set up. I'm not going to play the Giratina down until I absolutely have to, because there's absolutely no reason for me to allow it to get sniped down by, say, like the just regular water shurikens from baby Greninjas, or even just shadow stitching or moonlight slashes from regular Greninjas. Like, there's no reason for me to allow that. So what I can do is just wait and play it when I absolutely have to. Wait until my opponent has a regular Greninja down, and then play that down, so that I will be able to not have it sniped and still prevent my opponent from having their Greninja break be able to snipe me with its giant water shuriken. So what I'm going to do is Korrina, like I said, for the Buzzwole and the strong energy, so that I will be able to knock out my opponent's active Frogadier. Yeah, he will be able to get it back to his hand, but honestly, that's not the worst thing in the world. And it is unfortunate for him, because it looks as though, yeah, it looks as though he has 2 Frogadier prized. I would say he has only 1 Frogadier prized, but I mean Sudowoodo is already kind of coming through clutch, in that I'm preventing him from playing anything more down on his bench. But considering he does have a Frogadier or 2 Frogadier prized, then that's just either unfortunate or the Frogadier was in his hand, both of whom are just kind of like, I didn't want that. But regardless, my opponent is going to be able to get a Starmie up and a Greninja. I decided to start sniping down the Starmie because that thing is knocked out by 3 Jet Punches, and so I figured that that's probably the best way to go about that, is just by Jet Punching and knocking out some stuff. He is going to go ahead and Shadow Stitching, which, I mean, doesn't help him, because, I mean, it's still during his turn, and yeah, just making sure that it doesn't take effect during his turn as well, as that would be unfortunate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab Lando just because. And how do I want to play this? So the reason I'm Korrinaing as opposed to anything else is because, like, I have no reason to play for anything right now. I have no, well, play for anything, I'm playing for the win, but I have no reason to play down any particular, like, I don't, nah, what am I trying to say? I have no reason to play out. I have no reason to get rid of resources that I might need later. So I can just play the patient game, and at this point just knock out my opponent's Greninja with an Absorption GX, because Greninja is the only thing that could be even relatively annoying to me. And so I think, yes, I know how to do this. Man, I guess when you uninstall PTCGO, it's just like, you're a new player, you don't know how any of this works, and so it's just like, no, I know how it works, it's okay. but I think I had to uninstall and reinstall it just because for whatever reason it was not working recently, and so I was just like, okay, uninstall, reinstall, and now it's just like, do you know how to draw a card? Nope. I was clicking on my discard pile trying to draw from it, but it didn't work. I mean, I tried drawing from my prize cards, but my opponent just said I was cheating, and now I'm not allowed back at an in-town tournament anymore. But regardless, I'm obviously kidding. But either way, my opponent does have 2 Frogadiers up, and like I said, I have my ace in the hole in the Giratina that's in my deck. So as soon as I need it, I'm going to grab it, keeping a spot open on my bench, and I am going to play that down. My opponent is going to water duplicates, gets nothing. Well, all that means is I'm going to be able to knock out his Frogadier with a Jet Punch while target down his Starmie, and my opponent does just concede right there. So I mean, it's unfortunate that my opponent had as many Frogadier prized as he apparently had, but at the same time, I still always had the Giratina in the back to win the game whenever like he was close to getting a Greninja break up. I know he had a Greninja, and I know I said that as soon as I saw him that my opponent had a Greninja, then I would play down my Giratina, but because I knew that I was going to immediately knock out his Greninja, and he had no way of being able to get another Greninja ASAP, there was no need for me to grab that Giratina to shut down his break abilities. It was just easier for me to sit back, set up as well as I needed to, not get rid of any resources that I might need later, and as you can see, just by playing the patient game, I was able to win. I mean, had he not paralyzed me, I would have won earlier, but I mean, again, that's how it goes. It's a coin flip, 50-50, so just playing the patient game allowed me to win without even having to bring Giratina into it. But yeah, that is the first game, and let's just go ahead and try to find another one with this deck. Alrighty, we have found another one against Urgios with a pure fighting deck, and I'm kind of bummed because I was hoping to play a Night March game with this deck, as it's a very volatile matchup, as any one thing not going in one person's way can essentially just end the game, and I don't know, I just really find those matchups entertaining to where it's just like, okay, you have to make every single play correct. You have to like set yourself up 4 or 5 turns in advance for something that could happen down the road, but also you have to be careful to not play too much or overextend, because then that could hurt you as well. Just basically, it's a type of matchup that I really do enjoy, and so I'm hoping that we get a chance to face it, but unfortunately that does not seem to be the case. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just immediately Korrina for a Buzzwole and a Nest Ball just to get set up. I don't want to grab a Brooklet Hill immediately, just because, I mean, that's not something that I really want to allow my opponent to have access to. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab the Sudowoodo, make my opponent's bench a little bit thinner, and yeah, let's just end the turn right there. Again, I'm holding off on the computer search because I'm pretty positive I want a computer search for a Brooklet Hill, but I can also save it for like a Beast Energy or a Strong Energy, and just really I had nothing that I really particularly wanted out of this most recent turn, so there was no reason to play the computer search, whereas later in the game, if I draw into the computer search, like, okay, I need that one piece. Now it's just kind of like, okay, let's just get set up. No Diancie, okay, well that's unfortunate, but I should be able to draw into it at some point. My opponent is going to go ahead and Korrina of his own, and if my opponent plays Brooklet Hill, well then cool, that's one less thing that I have to computer search for. But just for the time being, no reason to play it. Hold on to that resource. Keep it so that when I absolutely need it, or when I have something that I definitely do need, as opposed to, well, I mean, I could use this in this particular situation, then that will be what I go for. So my opponent does just play down a Lucario. So it's like it just kind of looks like a fighting hodgepodge deck of sorts. And also one other thing is playing a stadium does not boost Zygarde's attack, so that's just kind of something that I wasn't really, like, I wasn't playing for that, but it's just kind of a nice bonus. I was playing for the fact that my opponent wouldn't be able to take advantage of it, as I had nothing else that I really needed to play on my bench that specific turn, and I didn't want my opponent to be able to get multiple Gabite out, as Garchomp could actually be kind of annoying. Then again, it can't really deal with, well, I guess if he's playing the Cynthia one, then that will be a huge issue. But okay, so he's able to damage my Zygarde. What I'm going to do is Korrina again. Just 'cause, I mean, again, no reason to end. I have all the resources. If I didn't draw into an energy, that I wouldn't have Korrina'd. But what I think I'm going to do is grab a... I'm going to grab a Landorus or a baby? Or a regular? I think I want a regular. Let's grab a regular and a choice band. Yeah, let's do that so that I can play that down. Put the choice band onto this one. Unfortunately, the wide lens is not going to be helping in this matchup unless there's a fighting that's weak to fighting for one reason or another. But yeah, and yes, I know what retreating is. I don't enjoy when you have to reinstall TCGO. Like I said in the previous game, when you have to reinstall TCGO and it just tells you like, oh, here's how you draw a card. No, I got it. We're good. But either way, gonna damage the Zygarde pretty substantially. Hopefully I can draw into a Beast Energy this coming turn, or a strong... Actually, I need a Beast Energy in order to knock him out, but then again, if he does Cellstorm. And, of course, he's playing Enhanced Hammer. I mean, I'm not knocking Enhanced Hammer. It's a very good card, but just in these hodgepodge decks, of course, my opponents are playing Enhanced Hammer or Crushing Hammer. It's just kind of like a... Well, I don't know what else fits in this deck, so let's just throw Enhanced Hammers and Crushing Hammers. But again, I'm only knocking Crushing Hammer. Enhanced Hammer is a very, very good card. Like, it is definitely insanely meta relevant, just because so much relies on DCEs in particular. Strong Energies, not so much, but ooh, I draw into another one. I'm just going to go ahead and do that just to make sure that the Zygarde stays in range. Or do I want to do that? Even though I know he plays Enhanced Hammers, I'm thinking, okay, how many can he realistically play? So I'm just gonna kind of just call the bluff, or not call the bluff, but I'm just gonna kind of play the odds and hope that he doesn't draw into another one. But the important thing is we do knock out his Gibble, which is pretty big, as now I don't have to worry about Garchomp being able to hit me for at least 200 damage. But again, back to my point about an Enhanced Hammer, in a meta, particularly the expanded meta, where so much revolves around DCEs, Enhanced Hammer is not, I don't want to say an obligatory one or two of, but I mean, it's like an important enough card to where it's good to run a copy or two of it if you have poor matchups against DCE heavy decks, or you just need like, okay, I need this tech for certain matchups, then Enhanced Hammer by all means, because you get guaranteed use out of it, as opposed to Crushing Hammer, to where it's just like, all right, cross my fingers, and it doesn't come through. So I mean, that's just kind of where I stand in the Crushing Hammer versus Enhanced Hammer. It's like you guaranteed get use out of it, or in terms or Enhanced Hammer, or it's just a dead card that you can discard. There's no, okay, I hope it's gonna help me in this matchup. Like Enhanced Hammer, you know one way or the other if it's going to help. So my opponent does actually take the first prize, but because I have the baby Buzzwole, I'm not overly worried about it, particularly because I can now Beast Ring. So I'm going to grab a Landorus as opposed to anything else, just because, I mean, Landorus is nice, just being nice and bulky, being able to hit stuff really hard, potentially snipe stuff down. Well, not hit stuff really hard. In this case, Landorus is just going to be for finishing off attacks, but with the Beast Energy, I can hit for a whopping 150 damage with my baby Buzzwole, and now I have a baby Buzzwole that is completely fresh. I have a Buzzwole GX that is on the bench ready to hit things with its Knuckle Impact, and I even have a Landorus that can be for sniping stuff down, especially because I'm doing 150 damage with my baby Buzzwole. Okay, so I have not seen that in a very long time. That was just kind of like a, wait, what's that red card? But Headringers have not said that in well over a year, I think. He Headringers my Landorus, which, I mean, is annoying. It means I have to have 2 energy in order to be able to Hammerhead, but it's not the end of the world. But what I was saying about the reason that I'm playing Landorus down is because his Lucario will be hit for 150 damage this turn. And with that, it will be 30 damage short of being knocked out, especially because he now has the Muscle Band on it. He can't play a Fighting Fury Belt, so it will have that 30 damage left to be knocked out, and Landorus would be able to finish it off with just a simple Hammerhead while getting some good damage off on whatever my opponent had active. But either way, my opponent does actually just concede the game, and we are able to take the victory with Buzzwole. So I mean, that was just kind of a was kind of a weird game. I mean, I think my opponent was going more for a daily challenge completion type of deck. Just like, okay, I have a bunch of fighting types. I have the fighting daily challenge where I just need to do 1,000 damage. Let's just go ahead and try to complete that. Now, I'm not sure what type of Garchomp he was running. If he was running like the Cynthia Garchomp, that could have been annoying if he was able to get multiple of them up. But luckily with Buzzwole, we were able to take that thing down very early to where it was not even remotely a threat or remotely an issue. And that was just something that we were able to ride, especially with Beast Ring at the end, able to power up our big Buzzwole while baby Buzzwole was able to hit for 150 damage just to set up all the KOs necessary for later in the game. So yeah, that was a solid-ish one. Got to show off what the deck can do, but yeah, you know what? I'm not quite satisfied yet. Let's just go ahead and try to find one more. Maybe we can get something good with this deck. Alrighty, we have found another one against Duskily with... Ooh, this looks like a fun matchup. He has Water, Grass, Fighting, and Normal, I believe. And unfortunately, we do lose the coin flip, so we will probably be going second. But actually, you know what? That's not even that bad with this deck. In fact, this deck really enjoys it, and I get an absolutely amazing start. Wow. So the only thing that could be better is if I had a strong energy, but I mean, like, I have Float Stone, I have Muscle Band, I have Buzzwole, I have Diancie, I have Cynthia for a new hand, and ooh, we are up against Lost March. So this could be very, very interesting. My opponent is going to go ahead and play down the Sky Pillar, which is very detrimental for this particular matchup, and then Elm's Research, which means he's going to be able to get potentially 3 more Hoppip, I would think. But if I can get rid of that Sky Pillar with my Brooklet Hill, then I will be in an absolutely amazing position. Okay, he grabs a Remoraid and 2 Hoppips, that is understandable. But yeah, if I can get rid of that Sky Pillar, this coming turn, if I get an Energy and the Brooklet Hill, oh man, this will be fun, because I think we might just be able to demolish my opponent before he's even able to get anything going, and I do even just get an Energy. And with the Muscle Band and the boost from Diancie, even though Hoppip has the resistance, it won't matter. I'll still be able to knock it out, and I even draw into a Brooklet Hill, so I'm pretty sure, yeah, I think this game might just be over before it even really begins, just because I was able to get that Brooklet Hill ASAP. Like, that was really, really huge, because I will be able to knock out 2 Hoppips turn 1. Like, my very first turn, I'm able to get a Sudowoodo up, a Diancie up, and able to knock out 2 Hoppips, and yeah, my opponent does just concede. I mean, like, to be fair, that was, quite frankly, the best possible start for this deck, not just in the Lost March matchup, but I think almost in general, like, being able to get Diancie Buzzwole immediately, Muscle Banded up, get an Energy, get a Sudowoodo, get another Buzzwole in the back. Like, that was just a perfect start. And, I mean, we're able to complete the daily challenge, so... You know what, I think I might just call it there, even though I said let's get one more. I mean, this was technically one more. Finish the daily challenge, and thank you guys so much for watching. Welcome to the new channel. Hope you are having a wonderful New Year's Day. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys